I had always been drawn to the mysterious and the unexplained. So, when I stumbled upon the small town of Willowbrook during my travels, it was as if fate had guided me there. Little did I know that the sinister secrets lurking beneath its quaint facade would become my haunting reality. As I entered Willowbrook, I was immediately struck by its eerie charm. The town was nestled in the shadow of a dense, ancient forest, and its cobblestone streets seemed deserted, save for a few townsfolk who watched me with curious, knowing ease. Their whispers of outsider reached my ears, but I brushed them off as the usual small-town gossip. I found lodging at the decaying Willow Inn, a once grand establishment that now exuded an air of decay and neglect. The innkeeper, a tall, gaunt man named Ezra, welcomed me with a toothy grin that sent shivers down my spine. That night, as I lay in my dimly lit room, I heard strange noises echoing through the inn's ancient walls. Whispers, chanting, and the occasional eerie laughter seemed to emanate from somewhere deep within the building. My curiosity got the best of me, and I ventured into the hallways, guided only by the flickering candlelight. The source of the unsettling sounds became clear as I reached the basement door. It was ajar, and from within an otherworldly glow beckoned me forward. Pushing the door open, I descended the creaking staircase and entered a chamber shrouded in darkness, save for the eerie illumination of countless candles. In the center of the room stood a circle of townsfolk, their faces painted with ghastly symbols, their eyes vacant and lifeless. At the center of the circle lay a writhing figure, bound by ropes and clothed in a tattered robe. I gasped as I recognized the newcomer, another traveler much like myself. As I hid in the shadows, the townsfolk began to chant in an arcane language, their voices resonating with an unearthly power. The room seemed to pulse with an energy that sent waves of dread coursing through my veins. I watched in horror as the ritual intensified, the bound traveler's body contorting unnaturally. My heart pounded as the room filled with a blinding light, and I had to shield my eyes from the intensity. When I dared to look again, I saw a grotesque transformation. The traveler's body twisted and mutated into a monstrous creature with tentacle-like appendages, its eyes now blazing with an evil intelligence. The townsfolk rejoiced, and my blood ran cold as I realized the truth. Willowbrook was home to a cult that practiced dark, eldritch rituals. They had brought me here for some sinister purpose, and I was trapped in their nightmarish world. With trembling legs, I made my way back up to my room, but sleep eluded me that night. I knew I had to find a way to escape this cursed town, but it wouldn't be easy. Willowbrook was shrouded in a malevolent force, and the townsfolk were its willing servants. Over the next few days, I delved into the town's history, uncovering a dark legend that had plagued Willowbrook for centuries. The cult worshipped an ancient, malevolent entity that granted them power in exchange for sacrifices. It was said that the creature lurked in the depths of the nearby forest, awaiting the return of its followers. As I pieced together the fragments of this horrifying tale, I realized that the only way to break the town's curse was to confront the entity itself. Armed with knowledge and determination, I ventured into the ominous woods, guided by a grim resolve. Deep within the forest, I found a cavern shrouded in darkness. The air was thick with an oppressive presence, and the ground trembled beneath my feet. As I entered the cavern, I came face to face with the abomination that had ensnared Willowbrook. In the battle that followed, I struggled to hold my ground against the creature's unholy power. It was a battle of wills, a battle for the very soul of the town. With every ounce of strength I could muster, I fought back, chanting words of ancient power that I had uncovered in my research. As the final incantation left my lips, the creature let out a deafening scream, its form contorting and dissipating into a malevolent mist. The forest shook, and the curse that had plagued Willowbrook for centuries lifted. The town returned to its quaint, unassuming self, as if the nightmare had never happened. The townsfolk had no memory of the cult or the dark entity that had enslaved them. I knew I could never speak of the horrors I had witnessed, for fear of shattering their fragile peace. With Willowbrook no longer a place of darkness, I departed, leaving behind the sinister small town and its haunting secrets. But the memory of that cursed place would forever haunt my dreams, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the most charming facades. Briarwood, a quiet town nestled in the heart of Middle America, had always been my sanctuary. Its cobblestone streets, lush greenery, and the comforting familiarity of its close-knit community made it the kind of place where life moved at a slower, more predictable pace. My family had deep roots here, generations of us living in the same comforting embrace of this picturesque town. It was a place where we felt safe, or at least that's what I used to believe. Then, the unthinkable began to happen. Children started vanishing. At first, it was whispered through the town like a ghostly rumor, a creeping unease that spread like wildfire. It was always someone else's child, a neighbor's, a friend's kid. But then, one rainy night, it became our reality. My youngest, Emily, disappeared without a trace. We called the authorities, organized search parties, but there was no sign of her. Our world crumbled, and I became part of the ever-growing group of parents living in torment. That's when I met Jacob Reed, a journalist who'd come to Briarwood to investigate the unsettling disappearances. His arrival sent ripples of curiosity and unease through our town, for outsiders rarely pried into our affairs. Jacob was a man who looked like he'd seen more than his fair share of battles. His face etched with deep lines that hinted at a tumultuous past. He was driven by whispers about Briarwood's nightmarish mystery that had reached him through his network of contacts. Together, we embarked on a journey to uncover the chilling truth that had gripped our town. Our quest led us to the Briarwood Historical Society, where dusty records and yellowing newspaper clippings revealed a chilling history of child vanishings spanning over a century. Each story left behind grieving families and unanswered questions, and a common thread emerged: the presence of a figure known as the Forest Warden. The Forest Warden was a spectral entity said to inhabit the woods, and it had been the subject of many townsfolk's eerie encounters. They spoke of a gaunt, shadowy figure with hollow eyes that played an otherworldly tune, luring children deeper into the forest. With newfound knowledge and determination, we ventured into the woods one night, armed only with flashlights and a resolute will. As we penetrated the dense forest, the trees seemed to close in around us, the atmosphere growing heavy with an unsettling presence. Then, we heard it, the haunting melody that had been described by so many. The Forest Warden emerged before us, a spectral figure with hollow eyes and an eerie countenance. Jacob filmed the encounter, capturing the creature as it played its unsettling tune on an ethereal flute. But the Warden was no longer content with its eerie presence. It lunged toward us, and I felt its icy grip on my arm. With sheer determination, we managed to break free and fled back to the town. We shared the footage with the authorities, but they dismissed our account as mere trickery of light or shared delusion. The existence of the Forest Warden remained unspoken, an ominous secret that hung heavy in the air. Undeterred, Jacob continued to dig deeper, seeking answers from old archives and a few townsfolk who were willing to speak. Together, we uncovered a grim history of child sacrifices, rituals performed by a secret cult that had plagued our town for generations. These innocent children were taken to appease a malevolent force that had claimed the forest as its domain. With the evidence we had collected, the authorities were finally compelled to act. The cult's leaders were apprehended, and the dark chapter in Briarwood's history was closed. But the scars remained, and I couldn't help but wonder if the Forest Warden still lingered in the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to claim the innocent. Years have passed since those dark days, and the children of Briarwood no longer live in constant fear. Yet, we remain vigilant, ever mindful of the forest's watchful gaze. Some mysteries, I've come to realize, are best left undisturbed, for the Forest Warden may still be out there, waiting for its next chance to haunt the hearts of the innocent. Millville was a town steeped in history and tradition, known for its grand carnival that arrived like clockwork every year. It was a time when the townsfolk would gather, relishing in the bright lights, merry music, and the joyous atmosphere that permeated the air. But this year, something ominous loomed over Millville. A sinister specter from the past had returned. The carnival's centerpiece was a long-lost ride, the Haunted Express, a relic of bygone days. No one knew how it had reappeared after years of obscurity, but its arrival was met with a mix of awe and trepidation. As the carnival's festivities kicked off, the townsfolk couldn't resist the allure of this enigmatic attraction. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the carnival lights flickered to life, the townspeople flocked to the Haunted Express. Its facade was a chilling, ghostly train, its rusted exterior adorned with sinister grins and hollow eyes. We watched as the ride's gears creaked into motion, and the first group of riders climbed aboard. At first, it seemed like any other carnival ride, with passengers strapped into their seats, ready for a thrilling adventure. But as the train rumbled to life, a sense of unease began to settle over us. The ride took on an eerie, surreal quality as it embarked on its journey through a labyrinthine landscape. The townsfolk inside the Haunted Express soon realized that this was no ordinary carnival ride. The world around them shifted and contorted, like a nightmare brought to life. They found themselves hurtling through dark, twisted landscapes, where reality and illusion blurred into a terrifying amalgamation. For those of us watching from the outside, we could only watch in horror as the expressions of joy on the riders' faces twisted into terror. Their screams pierced the night, but it was impossible to discern whether they were real or part of the carnival's twisted theatrics. As the night wore on, it became clear that the Haunted Express was not just a ride, it was a malevolent force that had ensnared its passengers. Those who dared to enter its ghostly carriages were trapped in a nightmarish realm, where their worst fears and darkest fantasies played out in grotesque detail. Desperation mounted as the trapped townsfolk struggled to escape the ride's nightmarish grip. The carnival's lights flickered ominously, casting long, ghastly shadows that seemed to dance with malevolence. The once celebratory atmosphere of Millville had transformed into a chilling spectacle of horror. A group of teenagers, fueled by their determination to save their trapped loved ones, ventured into the Haunted Express. Armed only with their wits and a fierce resolve, they navigated the surreal landscape within, battling monstrous illusions and facing their deepest fears. With each twist and turn, the line between reality and illusion grew thinner, and the carnival's malevolent grip tightened. The teenagers fought valiantly, inching closer to the heart of the cursed carnival ride. Finally, they reached the ride's control room, where they discovered an ancient, weathered book, the source of the malevolent magic that had ensnared Millville. With trembling hands, they chanted incantations from the book, desperate to break the curse that had plagued their town. As the incantations filled the air, the Haunted Express shuddered and groaned, its spectral facade crumbling away. With a deafening roar, it imploded into a vortex of darkness and vanished from existence, leaving behind only the echoes of its torment. The townsfolk, released from the ride's nightmarish grip, stumbled out, disoriented but free. Millville's Grand Carnival had returned to its joyful tradition, but the memory of that cursed night lingered like a shadow over the town. In the years that followed, Millville continued to host its annual carnival, but the Haunted Express was never seen again. The townsfolk had learned the price of indulging in the unknown, a lesson etched into their memories as they celebrated their town's rich history with a newfound sense of caution and respect for the mysteries that lay beyond the veil of reality.